Yo, yo!
Hey, hey.
What's going on, man? We back in this thing.
Yes, it's good to see you, man. Back at it.
Good to see you too. Brown Juice Barbershop coming to y'all back in the building for another session. Good to see you, brother. How's your week been?
My week has been busy, trying to launch a few of my personal things and get things rolling, which I'll come to in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And wrapping up some stuff, getting things rolling, trying to figure out what it means to exist and work from home during a pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How about you? How was your week?
Good week. Good week. Some work stuff. Had some stuff to do with strategic planning. Um, Wrapping that process up in the sense of, these are our final presentations. Let's think about what those next steps are. And then the good news yesterday, actually, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, we threw them a little Zoom graduation party, because their graduation commencement ceremonies were canceled or at least moved online, but it's still not the same
Yeah.
effect. My sister-in-law graduated. She has her doctorate. She's a school psychologist. So she has a doctorate in school psychology. So hats off to her. And then my brother-in-law, he graduated with his MBA. So they about to just take over the world, power couple, just beautiful black power couple doing their thing. So
amazing. That's me.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love it.
So it was great. It was great. Great to celebrate with them yesterday. And then also had a chance to watch the national commencement yesterday too.
Oh man. Oh man. Wait, which one?
So I got the one where Obama spoke at the end. I saw that one.
But he did too that same day. He did.
I didn't see the HBCU one because that's the time we were celebrating my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, so I missed that one.
Perfect.
The walk, the show your walk, that one.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see that one?
Yeah. I saw through both of them.
How was it?
It was good. It was good. It was my own personal observation was I want to see a few more people who went to college.
Mm-hmm.
Talk
wow, that's a good observation. I hear that.
Yeah, we really fall into celebrity and how important celebrity voices are, and I get it. That excites the children, excites young people. It's wonderful. The HBCU did a fair balance of that. Of you would get I went to this university, but then you would get the entertainers whoa, so good you went. That's so dope. And I was like, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I know there are more that went to school. Just my little snotty education.
That's a great point, though. That's a great point. That definitely is a great point, particularly if these are the folks who are on their way to college or the ones who are graduating from college. It's all about relevancy too. So
yeah. Okay. But the HBCU, as I watched it, I had some pains of I don't have that connection because the way they talked about it and the connection and the history and the stories and what it meant to be in these campuses that happened, it caught me for a second. I was stopping and having my thoughts what would it be like to be in that have that history?
I had a taste of that. Had a taste of it in two different ways. So I'm part of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and we had I think an Eastern Regional Convention, or it was a meeting. I think it was a meeting for it, and it was at Lincoln University. Oh my goodness! When I tell you, I felt like I was in the Black Mecca. I know some people watching from Howard, etc., Morehouse, stop it. But when I was on campus, so much love, no beef, no hate, no animosity. People had camaraderie, but also they can oh, you this, you that, and just joke with each other. It was all love at the end of the day. Went to a party, people were all strolling, being good, no fights, no issues. I'm not saying these things don't happen there.
Right.
All I'm saying is that I felt a different type of welcoming, a different type of acceptance and love, and just being able to look around any direction and see someone who looked like me. Mm-hmm. My goodness, it was nothing like it.
Yeah, it's what some people get all day long, every day.
Absolutely right. Make it plain, brother. Make it plain.
Right.
Speaking of making it plain, what you rocking over there?
What drinking or wearing?
What you wearing?
Oh, yeah, that's been part of the work this week. So
hey.
Look at that.
I see you.
I have this clothing line called Government Cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm working on the shirts.
That's dope.
This is me printing at home, laying it out. You got your cheese pizza. You got Government Cheese up here. Yeah, I went all in. And this is designed by my friend Aaron, who was a really beautiful designer, guy down in New Zealand. And he and I worked together with his wife to put the brand together, and they gave me some great content and ideas. this is one of the things he left behind, and it is. I love this design. Love it, love it. So I got this in this color and another color, trying to get them to market. Like it's not easy, bro. But I'll
I
stop.
bet. I bet. I bet at some point we're gonna have to hear a little bit more about government cheese, man. We're gonna have to get like really dig into it, see exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm over here rocking. So it's a T-shirt from high school. So it says Petty Operation Smile, changing lives, and on the back it says one smile at a time. Operation Smile is one of those organizations that helps folks who might have a cleft palate or might have a cleft lip. And I was a part of a group called Project What If, and Project What If was an improv group. So I went around doing improv comedy for community service and things of that nature to raise money and awareness for this and donate to Operation Smile. So yeah, just one of the things I dug out the crates to throw it on today.
That's beautiful. I have 3 reactions. One, that's really fantastic and a very important cause, and I appreciate you taking that on and doing it. 2, how you fitting into a shirt from high school? how you fitting? I don't know if I get one on my arm anymore. But,
see, here it is. The fashion is you always buy big, so I had the big. I grew into it. Put it that way.
Yeah, because it still looks too big for you. That's the thing. Most are down to your knees in high school. And then the 3rd observation is, once again, Mr. Introvert doing improv comedy. Just making that note.
I like to tell people this. I am a performer. I just need to know when I'm going to turn flip the switch. I just need to know. If I'm caught off guard, you might get attitude. You might get a lot of sass and sarcasm. Because I'm like, I really don't want to be bothered. But if I know that I have to do a presentation, if I know I'm about to go do something that's improv, etc., sure. But other times I'm like, I'm good. Just leave me alone. And then even after those performances, after those presentations, I'm like, bye. See you never.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like improv is great. I did improv in college. It was my thing. It was my thing. Like killer shows. I loved it. And it's so frightening and exciting all at the same time, right? Great. Look at that. Okay.
Definitely.
So this more coming out. I love it.
Yeah, this shirt reminds me of humble beginnings in some way because that's where I was in college. So what I'm drinking today reminds me of some humble beginnings as well. So what I have right here.
I saw what you did there. I like that. I saw what you did there.
I appreciate that. That was a little bit of improv. So what I have is the bottom shelf royalty. It's like bottom shelf royalty over here. Everybody knows about them.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows about them. Got a little bit left over. You know what I mean? Everybody knows about them. So got a little bit of that Evan Williams, Again, from one of my favorite distillery, Heaven Hill. Evan Williams, man, that bottom shelf royalty, this black label.
Right on. I thought you were going to give us some Old Granddad.
Oh, listen. Next, that's right up there. Old Granddad, particularly the bonded one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Beautiful. I decided to go similar way.
Oh, there we go. Bring it back. Hey.
Knock it out.
Talk about it.
Proof. Have some good times, huh?
Oh, yes.
Beautiful.
There you go. Let's get after it.
Yes. Who are you toasting up to today?
I want to toast up to my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. Toast up to them and their phenomenal accomplishments, talking about running your leg of the race to the best of your ability and setting up your future family. I'm just a proud uncle, and when they have kids, proud uncle. But I'm happy that my future kids got somewhere to go. You know what I mean? If I need a little help or if I need somebody, just to lean on. So cheers to them.
The new down south. Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
How about you, good brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna toast it up to Aaron. Aaron's no longer with us, but Aaron did his design with his wife, I said, and really put his heart and soul. I went to with a concept and an idea, and I have a full-on branded, like multiple pages of looks and ideas, and it was an honor to like spend time like in my house with a heat press, making the shirts,
Mm.
with his design. But what Rob helped lay it out to follow the legacy. Look at it shimmy. Look at that.
I see it.
I love it.
I
And
see
it's
it.
the detail in here is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on the American flag, got the arrows and the trees and leaves, and put a pizza up here. The other one was a bowl of macaroni and cheese. Pizza read better. Pizza read better.
I love it. I
So
love
to
it.
my boy Aaron and his vision, his memory.
Cheers.
Great. Great.
Doesn't brown juice just taste better when you toast it to somebody?
Oh yeah, completely, man. Completely.
For real.
It just goes very well with the moment.
Yes, sir.
It's good stuff. Good stuff for sure. So I heard you want to talk about a few things today.
Yeah, I would love to know what's on your mind as well, but I was just doing some reflecting. I'm always doing some reflecting. And one of the things I've been reflecting on is, we've often been talking about what have we learned about ourselves, about others, about this moment during COVID-19, right? And knowing that, figuring that out, what does that mean for us moving forward? So I thought it would be cool if I try to come up with some, what I'm calling post-COVID-19 resolutions for the Black community, or the shorthand version of that is the post-Rona commandments. So that's what that's what's on my mind right now. So I'd like to throw some of these at you, and then let's have a conversation about where those things might sit with you, and if you have any other commentary to add to that. How does that sound?
That sounds very good.
Okay, let me start with one. And this is one that I've really been thinking about. And this was before even this happened. Always have been thinking about it, talking about it, and just trying to say, how can we do things better? So number one, and I have 5. So number one, thou shalt be more conscious of where you spend your dollars.
Thou shalt be more conscious of where you spend your dollars. I think it's a very smart one. There's nothing to debate or talk about. It's like, yes, because we have to think about that. And we talk about cooperative economics and supporting the community and investing back in, and never forget where you came from, all those things. But that's a practical way to apply this knowledge. And at this moment, we don't know what next week, we don't know what tomorrow's looking like, let alone next week, next month, next year. Because every day is just different. And with these leaders that are in place, the former president called it out. People make a decision like little kids. I was like, boom, that's it. That's exactly what we need to hear. So I toasted that commandment. I will do my best to live by it. What makes you
I think I'm like, sometimes we're so quick to, because again, my undergraduate background, policy analysis and management, concentration, consumer policy. I'm always thinking about the audience. I'm always thinking about who's the consumer, who's the producer, who owns, who's making profit, who's spending all the money for other people to make the profit. I'm always thinking about those things. Think about when you go shopping. I know there are some times, like even when you buy toilet tissue, and I know that's something that's serious right now, right? You think about the different companies, the big companies that produce these things. Who's backing it financially, right? You have some people like the Koch brothers or whomever else, right? You have some folks like, where is this money coming from? Who owns these corporations? Do I align with their philosophies, their politics? Is it good money? Is it bad money? Is it dirty money or is it clean money? Asking all those questions. I'm not saying that we can get it right all the time. And I'm not saying that we need to actually do research before we go to the grocery store. I'm just suggesting that we should be a little bit more mindful, as opposed to like the old show, Supermarket Sweep. Run down the supermarket and swipe stuff off the market. Let's not do that. Let's actually think about it. Maybe read some ingredients, read exactly where it was manufactured, and think about whether or not that's the right purchase for us. And also thinking about where we spend our money, which leads me to my next one. But that was really what was on my mind when I was thinking about that.
If I could add more into that, my mother worked in a factory when I grew up. And so I'm very aware of like what life is like inside of a factory from being someone that was around it, all his life and was raised by it, with the restrictions that came with it and the benefits that came with it. And when I went out to make the government t-shirts, I bought the shirts, I bought a heat press. I've been putting the logos on because I want every design to be individual. I was very cautious and asked lots of questions of the places where they made the shirts, how employees treated, what's your reputation, and then I Googled after finding that, and the same with the heat press company, and like talked to people inside, and it was great because it wasn't like I was talking to people like on the floor, not somebody in an office saying, "Oh, this is what we do." I was like, I want to talk to so and so. That was a to like add the when I first started to emphasize your first commandment, the Rona commandment. When I first started, I was thinking, how would I ever be able to tell what it's like inside a factory making shirts? There was no way I could find out that information to get it. But I learned it's like, no, just call. It's like, yo, what's up? How do you treat people who work for you? How are people paid? What's happening? Do you treat people well? Why are you here? And so that commandment is much more doable than I think people can imagine or would imagine.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because I think that's the piece. There's always a lot of excuses like, well, I don't have this, or I can't do that, or how am I supposed to do that? Those companies don't exist. So saying that is much more doable than people can imagine. I appreciate you saying that, lifting that up.
Yeah, real.
Which brings me to number 2. Now, this is a part, part of this is me being very serious, but part of it is also me being a little flip, just a little bit. And thou shalt support Black-owned businesses without asking for a discount or a hookup.
It's hard for me. That's hard. Because my go-to line is like, oh, word, hook my up. Like there's no breath between the two sentences. Congratulations, hook a brother up. I practice. I have practice. Because I want to get it in right away. But do tell me more about how I can grow with this thought and idea.
Now, I think there are times and there are moments when a hookup or a discount is appropriate. I think if you've been a loyal friend, sponsor, if you've been A1 day one, if you started from the bottom with them and now they're there, there's some times where it's like, you know what, Dre, you've been with me for this whole ride, you saw it through, you probably was even a seed funder. You get that hookup, you get that discount. We go back, I know you're not in my pockets because I'm someone new. You my brother, you my fam, got you. But I think off of GP, there are some folks who know nothing about this person, nothing about the organization and corporation, but they walk through the door and they're like, are we Black? Let me hold something. But it's like, hold up. Because if truth be told, you don't walk into other places like that and you have no problem spending lots of money there. And of course, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying that, and there's been some of my experiences, the conversations that I've been in certain spaces, like, oh, it's almost like, oh yeah, the white man's water is colder, right? They have clearer ice, whatever the case may be. So I can spend my money over there, but for you, brother, you sure you ain't get those off the back of the truck? You sure they ain't fall off? I mean, why should I be paying you extra anyway? So just thinking about that, that's why that one's in there.
Yeah, and it's complicated because I'm also cautious with acknowledging that people are often informed by misinformation that led them to think like it's off to the back of the truck because we know how life can be for us and what happens to us in these moments. So I'm forgiving in that sense, and I'm thinking about it. You got me thinking. I'm so that hook a brother up person that like it was a joke, but I laughed at myself, and then I was like, wow, I did that so fast. My sister's husband's daughter, my sister's husband's granddaughter had a job at Five Guys at a Plymouth meeting. And I was like, oh, that's so great. Can I hold $20? And I didn't really mean it, but I couldn't help myself. I just said it, and it was almost like a colloquial acknowledgement. Oh, that's so great. You got your first job. That's beautiful. But that we got work to do because that notion of, his ice is clearer than yours. We do that, and it's amazing. It's amazing how we fall into those spaces, and that's a perpetuation of the problem and the disconnect and the lack of growth that we will face if we keep functioning in that way.
And here's the piece that I'll add to that too, because I don't want folks to get it misconstrued or twisted. It's like, if you are patronizing a place, if you're going to be that person who goes to a certain store and shops there, if you have the funds to pay, at full price, the same way you have funds to pay somewhere else at full price, then you should pay that full price. Now, I know there are some folks who might not have that. And I think in that case, I think those business owners, particularly if they want them to support Black-owned businesses, they should also support the communities that they come from or communities of people who look like them. So I think it's a two-way street in some spaces. You have to give somewhere in some spaces in order for people to actually give back to you. So it's really about investment at the end of the day. And that might look different across the board, but it's really about investment. It's not always money, because if you don't have the money, then you can do the time, you can help with the effort, you can help promote those type of things. So I just think that, and don't get me wrong. There's times I want a discount too and a hookup, because there's plenty of times I'm like, I've been with you before you blew up. So it's like, hook a brother up. But I also would be the type of person, and I've done this before, is like, if I get that hookup, please believe I'm gonna bless you on the back end with something. Whether it's going to be like extra tip, whether it's going to make sure I hold you down with one of your favorite brown juice bottles, whatever the case may be. But thinking about
it. And here's a not necessarily a pushback,
it.
but here's a challenge with that. We see people who historically, and by this I mean white people, who have advantages and have positions of power and have economic advancement and connection and ability. They consistently hook each other up. That's the one thing I found out when I went to my private school. I was like, y'all don't pay for anything. Like so-and-so's father's a doctor and you go see them, and so-and-so owns this company, so you see them. I was in a school where somebody had the biggest beer distribution company in Philadelphia. So the hookup was right there, So it's interesting because I hear your notion. Your notion is less about when we're all in it, let's make it up. It's more about don't downplay someone building their empire, their structure, their business, their power by expecting a discount in the demand. I once again think about my prime example of that is Mikael and TT from Miss Jessie's. When Miss Jessie's first came out, the price point was high, and people were like, "What? $29 for that?" And Mikael was like, "No, we know our self-worth. We are worth this, and you should pay it." And they're still around to this day with those same prices and doing very, very fine. So I believe in that. That's a good one, and it's a complicated one because there's so much history and so many layers.
You're absolutely right.
So many layers.
You're absolutely right, and I appreciate that perspective, because if I'm refining my whole message,
right,
more so about the support and the investment, and it's about that genuine support and investment, where a person's like, I believe in you, and I believe in what you're doing. It's almost like tithing in the church, right? So it's like, God loves a cheerful giver, and if sometimes you don't have much to give, but if you can give anything, it doesn't have to be $1,000, it doesn't have to be $1 million. If it has a penny, it could be a penny, but in the spirit that you gave, right? So when I think about folks who might not celebrate those who are in business without asking for a hookup, like that can come later. If that's the first thing out your mouth, particularly if you don't need anything. I think about that in some spaces. Sometimes it's funny and it's like that's the real, but I think about that difference between, because it's really about paying it forward, right? And hopefully those people who are in those positions who have those businesses, if we're truly practicing cooperative economics, right? If we're truly doing that, then those folks probably be the ones who can provide people with that opportunity, that job, etc. So I just really think about what does investment look like, what does support look like, and I mean genuine support, not quid pro quo per se. Realizing that quid pro quo gets people places they need to get to in order for us to build our own. So just how can we be a little bit more cooperative, as opposed to, you know what, I won't really spend money here per se. I need a little help, but over there, I'm not even going to ask for help.
Yeah, I got you. I'm with it. Makes complete sense. That's
I
how you
appreciate
build.
that insight too, because I think about that, and and that's why I never want to be one of those people who comes across sound like I'm even stepping with a little bit of my pinky toe into like respectability politics, or like pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Never. I just want people to understand that we need to, like you said, Nico, we're worth it. we know our worth, right? I just want people to understand that we should all know our worth, our collective worth, and invest in kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Say the command one more time, please.
So it was thou shalt support Black-owned businesses without asking for a discount or a hookup. If I was to amend that, I would add the word initially at the end.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, listen, you know what it is. Listen. I know there's some people I've been watching. I've been doing my research. There's some Black-owned, bourbon, brown juice places out there. I'm not asking for a hookup. All I'm saying is, send a brother a bottle. I'll push your brand. That's all. That's all. Let's work together.
I've been looking for that Majestic locally.
Talk about it.
I'm ready to be like
that Majestic, and then also got to join the Black Bourbon Society. That's on my list of things to do. And there's just some other things too. I know there's I think Bro Brothers is another one that came out. And there's some other ones too. But we're talking about that consumer piece. It's like if I go into a store, right, and we got a bottle of brown juice. I don't care if it's from Heaven Hill, my favorite distillery, right next to Majestic. I had better be getting that Majestic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No question.
And if I really want that Heaven Hill, buy that too. But you better get that Majestic.
No question. Beautiful. Okay. These are good.
All right, I got 3 more. Is this cool?
Are you kidding me? It's beautiful.
Okay. All right. So I've been thinking about this a lot. And I know we had a conversation about this earlier too. But just getting more clarity. So thou shalt be more efficient with your time and resources.
It's like you came in here to lecture me. Is that what you like? What's going on?
Not at all. No. This is to me. I'm procrastinating number 1.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was. Yes. I was thinking this morning of how it's been multiple weeks and I've been going and thriving and going, but I'm not reading enough. I'm not doing enough physical activity, and I'm not someone that likes a schedule. Like I do not like do this, do that. I'm like, throw it all at me, and I'm like, I go, and I thrive in that, and I get it done, and I work it out. Some details left out, but no more than we left out if I still had a schedule. But I know that's how I thrive. Like you asked me before we started this, how many projects I'm working on, and I was like, I don't know exactly. I have a number of them. That's the way I work. But I was thinking this morning, because I want more structured reading time, that I feel like it's about time to be like, here's a schedule, get me through, and to get what I need done. I keep a calendar. That's not what I'm talking about. I keep a calendar. When someone's like, hey, you want to talk at 5 o'clock? I'm like, yeah, hold on. Yes, let's talk at 5 o'clock. It's on my calendar. I got to do that because I can't remember all this stuff. But in terms of maximizing and being most effective with my schedule, I bet I would do well to build an actual schedule. What were you thinking with that one? Tell me more about that.
I think for me, the beauty of this is, and it speaks to me and how I operate. I always talk about working smarter, not harder. And for me, it's really about thou shalt be more efficient with your time and resources. It's not saying do more. And it's not saying that you need more. It's saying that you have everything you may need and more in some cases, as long as we think about it, try to work smarter as opposed to harder. There are some times when we just complain and we say we don't have enough time. And it's like, if you actually schedule it, like I was talking about how Verdine Lee told me, if you actually schedule things out, right, you have way much more time. It's just that, It's just like I was writing a paper one time and I used one word and my teacher's comment was, that's poor word economy. Saying that I had the poor choice that I used. Well, I'm like, okay, I got you. I'm not using my words wisely. I have but so much space, let me find better words. So think about the time and resources that I have. Am I maximizing my potential by maximizing and leveraging the things that I have available to me? Which, in many instances, if you do that, then you'll have opportunities or maybe options of other things as well because of the stuff that you've done with the things you had. And some of that's biblical too, and just really think about being mindful of few things so you can get to many things, and just really thinking about that. So that's pretty much where I was though, because I'm thinking about me. My excuse is, I'm tired, or I don't feel like doing that, or nah, that's not my speed. That's going to cost this, cost that. But just if you really spend more time thinking about things, you're like, what? I can do this that way. Oh, I don't really need that, and just make it happen.
Mm. I like it. I like it. Say it one more time.
So thou shalt be more efficient with your time and resources.
Post-Rona commandments. I said mandments. Post-Rona mandments.
That's the bridge. Yeah, that's the little apostrophe.
Exactly. Exactly. I made it Rona. First time I heard Rona, I was like, I love my people. They got the Rona.
Right?
I was like,
got that Rona.
I'm trying to get that Rona.
Right?
Yeah, plainly, y'all. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I really appreciate that when these, and this makes you understand the purpose of commandments. We need support and structure and ways of existing and standing and being. Mm-hmm. It's helpful to have that in place to teach you how to show up.
Very true. Okay. Very true. All right, got two more.
Bring it.
All right. Thou shalt think about your everyday actions and how they impact your community.
I should think about your everyday actions and how they impact your community. Yeah. Take responsibility for what you do and how we show up, how we stand up, how we choose not to show up. All your actions matter. One of my favorite French philosophers, Jean-Paul Sartre, we are our choices. I think I said it before, but I'll come to it again and again because I believe that. How'd you come up with that? Where'd that come from for you?
So I just think about the whole notion of there is no I in team, and some people are like, well, there's an M and an E, so But anyway, I think about how if we're really thinking about the situation that we're in now, if we're thinking about the whole Quaker testimony of stewardship, right, as well as community. Stewardship really means being the best community member you possibly could be, doing your part, and in some cases, maybe doing someone else's part if they can't do it. So when we think about this moment, it reminded me, so I was watching, my wife and I we were streaming church today, and the pastor was giving an example about just wearing your mask. And it was like, listen, when we call for people to wear their mask, it's not about you. It's about protecting the other person. It's really not about you per se. It's about that, let's just assume you have it. You don't want to spread it to other people. So the act of you not wearing a mask when you have access to one, you actually making that choice is saying, forget everybody else. My impact on my community, I'm not really thinking about it. Right? And I'm not saying whether you wear it or won't wear it. I don't want to get into that. All I'm saying is the choices that we make have an impact, particularly on those who are most readily next to us, the whole proximity piece. So really thinking about what actions we make and how it impacts our community, whether that's recycling, whether it's trash, but whatever the case may be, you want to get into it. We could think about what that looks like. Going back to spending money. Where are you spending your dollars? Those things too. So your everyday actions, how do they impact your community?
And own that and take responsibility for that. It's yes. I feel like I'm in church and like, yes, sir. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. It's strong. I believe, especially because I've been thinking about one or two that I have, and they're a little different than yours, but they encapsulate all of this. So I'll come to those when you finish sharing with me. The 5. We're 3 in now, right?
We're 4 in.
4 in, okay.
And the last one. And this comes to you from Amanda. Because I was talking to her, I was like, and she was like,
hold on. Let me sit up. This is Amanda.
She put this one down. She was like, thou shalt choose your life partner wisely. Because particularly in this space and time, we've read articles. Some are very disheartening about divorce, about domestic violence, about like situations that people are in because they have to be home. And I think that, like you said, we are our choices. I think that sometimes, you know, I was joking with her. I was like, yeah, it's all fun and games till you quarantine together, right? It's like when you actually have to spend time, you don't have an excuse. Oh, I gotta go to work. Yeah, you working from home today, fam. Meet me on the first floor, and we're gonna do lunch, and we're gonna do extra. So just really like we're having a blast, and I think a lot of people are actually having a blast because they're getting a chance to like get to know each other again or spend time with the person that they've become to know, where all the other stuff is boxed out or all the other stuff that was a distraction is getting in the way. And I would say the same thing in terms of like choose yourself. Like, so for example, if you don't have a person that you're with, choose yourself in the sense of spending time with yourself, actually getting a chance to know yourself a little bit more, actually making some time for self-care, because sometimes we get distracted as individuals and we don't have an opportunity to even like date ourselves per se, right? And actually get to know ourselves and understand what it's like to spend time with ourselves. Are we comfortable with the person that we're spending time with? All those things. So I think that was a piece where it's like, choose wisely, because this is an example of, not worst. It's not the for better part. This is the more worst part, right? Right. Where it's like when you have to deal with certain things, just making sure that you got your team with you. Choose your team wisely.
Right. It's interesting. It's funny because if it was someone else, I would have said, "How was she looking at you when she said that?" Like, I'm gonna give you one. But I know Amanda may have had a little bit of that, but I know she would have. It's such a celebratory moment because y'all have something so magical, so magical. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, "Wow, this is what it's about. This is beautiful."
Appreciate
I love what you have, and but that one is so interesting. I've talked before about how much I appreciate and need this, and once again, you deliver like the word that I need to hear, the message I need to hear, because all of those are pieces I'm working on. And this is for me. I once had to one of my screens, one of my films, a kid came up to me and said, "You talked a lot about identity. When does one figure out what identity is?" And I said, "That's a fantastic question for a 10th grader to pose."
Goodness.
Right? 10th grade is Greek, sophomore, wise fool. Love it. Love it. The moment I came to, and I said to him, I can see him, I remember him. I wonder where he is now, because he's probably out of college by this time. He said, he said that to me, and I said, the search for identity is a lifelong search. There isn't I figured it out. So I am completely, because things happen, people come into your life, children happen, experiences happen, you go places, you learn something about yourself, loss, benefits, growth, and all those reshape your identity. And who you become in that moment determines it. So identity is a lifelong process. And it's a beautiful process. It's difficult and it's beautiful. So all like these commandments you offer tap into what I feel are supports for the search for identity and self. And that last one really falls into in terms of how to find joy and connection and intimacy, which I think is the secret. That's the answer.
Absolutely.
What does it all mean? It's like being able to achieve that. Tell me, how did you feel when you heard that? What were your responses when you heard that?
So you mean when like
when Amanda shared that with you?
I think we've had this conversation before, and I was like, speaking about those choices, and I think the way I heard that was, if you have the opportunity to be in a position where you can make that choice, don't make it lightly and don't take it lightly. I think that no matter what relationship you get into, whether it's a intimate relationship, whether it's a working relationship, professional, like you have to weigh everything out and really vet the situation thoroughly. I think one of the things that people might say is old school and is super traditional is the whole notion of courting, something that's missing. And it's funny because I'm thinking about it now, a lot of people can't really go on dates right now, which might be a good thing, because now you have to spend time with each other separated and you have to get to know the person in front of you. You're not distracted by other stuff. There's no other noise, people around you. You can't ask for the check real quick. You right in front of each other. So I think we're kind of getting back to basics, where you're getting to know the human being sitting across from you, not just physical appearance, not just whether or not they're paying for your meal, or not just whether they drink wine or drink brown juice, right? You seeing all these things and trying to say, you know what? I know that I can deal with you on your best and your worst day, and everything in between. So thinking about what that looked like. So hearing that, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad we chose each other, because I married up, like I said. I married up. But I'm glad. So I should be saying I'm glad you chose me.
Right, exactly. It's phenomenal. That's so powerful. I was just having a talk with a friend today about that. This is my buddy who met someone, and his life transitioned this past December. Like everything changed, and he met somebody, and he's like, it's new for me. Like I like a physical connection, but that's not an option right now. And we've been talking and like watching movies together, like virtually, and having lots of conversations and talking a couple hours on the phone. And he's like, while I do have my cravings and desires and wanting to be close to someone, I'm also embracing this process of having a conversation. And we really like each other. I was like, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. This way of connection and courting is centuries old. It's not new. It just feels new because of our instantaneous world. And now with the pause and the slow down, that's international. It'll be interesting to watch to see what comes out of these experiences. So that's really, people really have to take the time to know each other, because it's like, well, here we are, right here face to face. That's interesting. That's so magical that I was having that conversation with someone this morning.
That is.
And if I could share, I didn't. Once again, our yin yang relationship is powerful. I didn't write down commandments, and my I think I have two, and they connect. And mine, of course, are a bit more esoteric, maybe. I think get at the heart of what we've talked about, and I'll try to articulate them the best I can. The first is, for me, is thou shalt be true to your heart and desires and pursue it with passion. There's a lot pointing at us that's telling us not to. I've been thinking about, I've been watching a lot of TV because it's just harder to read right now. It's hard to focus, and like that's what I'm talking about, structuring that time and putting it down, because it's hard, but it's not impossible. But I've been watching a lot and reviewing, and being someone in the film world and education world, I've been thinking like, oh, if I had pursued this at a much higher rate, would I be in a different place? I love my journey, love my process, love that I became a teacher, got the graduate degrees in education, but I love what I'm doing. But I do have moments thinking like, could I have been a little further in my career if I had really pursued, swallowed, believed, digested, accepted, wanted, what my heart truly desired? I had the notion when I was in college, I was like, well, I want to go pursue film and entertainment, but that's a vacuous, empty field. I'm an educated Black man. I've had so many scholarship dollars put into me. Is that a waste of people's money? Not, this is what I want to do. I was afraid of nepotism that I didn't have, afraid of opportunities I thought I didn't have. So I held back. And didn't pursue what I really wanted. Once again, I don't have regrets, but I understand. That Chris Rock moment, I understand. Just a little bit of like, I think about what things could have been. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, So that notion of staying true to your heart and your desire and your passion and pursuing it full on, and not taking no. Which is one of the questions I have here that I'll come to a little bit later.
Okay.
So remember that I said that part of pursuing the passion is not taking no, but my other question that is a pushback on that, but that's another story. So I
Okay.
think, yeah, that's, what do you think of that? How
That
does it hit you?
that is so real. That is so real, and it's. I'm in complete agreement. And I think this moment has made me think about that even more so. I'm a decade into my career in education. I've had a number of different roles and responsibilities in education at different levels. You know, thinking about the demographic I want to work with, thinking about the folks I want to serve. And I think it was during our Bible study this past Thursday, and I was just thinking and reflecting. I was like, one of the questions I asked, I was like, in this moment, what's troubling you? In this moment, what's on your mind? What's on your heart? And one of the things I was thinking about, I always talk about how education for me is a vocation, it's a calling. And I talk about education, but then I realized I'm like, when you talk about that word passion, used to work in college counseling. One of the things you used to always try to tell students, what's your passion? What are you passionate about? Write about that, right? That is a evolving thing. And to
Mm,
ask folks
mm,
to know what they're passionate about right then and there. Now you can have many passions, maybe you're something you're so passionate about that that's the only thing you can write about. But anyway, so I was thinking about what is passion and honestly, what is joy? What brings me joy? Um, Conversation like this, that's something that's on my calendar that I always look forward to.
mhm,
Other things that might be on my calendar, it's just something I got to do.
mhm,
Or do I?
mhm,
So it goes back to that question where I've really been wrestling and exploring. Okay, I say this is my calling, which is education, but my calling is not necessarily attached to a position or a job per se. So really exploring that and thinking about it. What am I passionate about? What's going to make me wake up humming like a bird? Like just whistling and just so happy because I'm about to get after it. I'm pursuing my passion. Right now, I'm pursuing my purpose.
mhm, mhm,
I don't know if my purpose has aligned with my passion yet.
mhm, mhm,
The day that happens, I'm gonna throw my hands up and say thank you God. But
mhm,
I think like you said, like just really pursuing that and giving yourself permission to do so is the important piece because there's so many people telling us, so many things telling us, we don't have enough money to do that. We can't live a sustainable lifestyle doing that. No one's going to take you seriously, whatever the case may be. But really thinking about that, I 100% agree, and I thank you for sharing that.
mhm. And there's some real realities in place, and with us, economic growth falls backwards.
Mm-hmm.
We make it. There's a whole lot of people like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hook a family up, you know, like, oh, we need, not we want,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
need. And that's a real, like, I was like, I can't be out here interning, even though I did it. I can't be interning for free and working these low jobs. I had a
Right.
job in New York City where my rent was crazy high, working on a big movie, a $10 million movie, $300 a week.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
that's what I
Wow.
was getting paid, but I was like, I love it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. And I found ways to hustle and make it go through, and that, that we ain't talking 1970, we're talking a couple of years ago, a decade ago, a couple of decades ago, not so long ago. You get the point. It wasn't there. What this wasn't this. It wasn't a time where $300 a week was enough to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it, yo. I
Mm,
made it, and I
mm,
learned so much and appreciated it, and was already done with my graduate degrees and high-end jobs. And here I am, like jumping into this space, and I'm looking around, being the oldest person there,
mm,
and having moments of like, oh, I wonder what it would have been like,
mm.
Um, so yeah, that's one. And then another one is, especially post Rona, for us, for the community, um, thou shalt be honest.
Mm, mm, mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
thou shalt be honest.
I like that.
The
I like that.
truth.
So I feel it when you're saying that. So where is that coming from?
It's coming from, uh, and it ties into. I feel like my two commandments. That's how I'm offering up. Sort of speak to and give a little guidance for how to live yours. Because
Mm,
your first four are very practical. It made a
mhm,
lot of sense and we're very helpful and seated in love and support and growth and development and helping us be the best people we can be. And I really think that that level of honesty and truth of what's happening in the world and who we are and how we show up is hard. It's hard to be like, these are my flaws. These are my strengths. This is my joy. This is my passion. This is my want. This is my desire. Because we have been trained as a people to not want all that and accept that, and to believe that ice is clearer and tastes better over there, as opposed to your ice might even be better. I was just this afternoon talking with a friend, talking about how like she's been uncovering, and we're still like, I was like, oh, what's up? How you doing? And she sent me like 40 text messages, and I was like, what's going on? She goes, yo, I've been digging into looking at my Black history, and my family were freed during the revolution in America. We have a long history of them fighting for and pushing and having all this. I mean, she sat here like, you could just see her mind being like, what? You know, when she said they fought for this all this time and they were second-class citizens. And I said, they were told they were second-class citizens. Is my response to that. But I understand what you're saying. And she talked about how she felt like a second-class citizen and the high school she went to. And I was like, yeah, I get that. You know, when you're up against all these people that are big and have famous names and have been allowed to participate in society at certain levels. Like African Americans were kept out of the game, like by threats of death and by actual execution and death. So that feeling of being outside the game, if like a second-class citizen, is real. Let's be honest and say that, and this is going to sound hard, we accepted that which was given to us because of threat of death, threat of exclusion, families being ripped apart. So the honesty is we show up with these wounds. We show up with this hurt. And it's extra hard and it's not fair. And we can do it. And we have all that we need inside of us to make it and survive and thrive. I really believe that. And you know, I remember taking logic in college. You ever take a logic class in college? Yeah, I'm not the math person, other logic. You know, that whole if A, then B, therefore C. And I remember in class being like, what is logic? What does this all mean? And the teacher said it, I think it was a man, such a while ago, I don't remember it. He said, you know, one of the biggest solipsisms that we don't pursue properly and mistakes that we make when it comes to logic is the notion that a celebrity said it, therefore it's true. And I remember in class being like, wow, yeah, right, straight up. Yep, that's so true, that's so true, that's so true. And why is it that we accept, yo, Joe said, yep. And it's like, Joe don't know nothing. Joe nor Susie really know more than you. Certain areas people study and excel and move through. I get that, I respect that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to like the truth, I respect empirical data. I accept historical facts and history and pieces. But when it comes to really saying, this is how I participate, this is what I've done, this is my ownership in this experience in this moment, this is how I'm going to move forward. How can you be deeply honest? It is so easy to lie to ourselves because of the potential extra work or the fear or the acceptance of what we're told, all of it. How can we, post-Rona, really look at these statistics, at these figures, at these murders, at these politicians, and say, you don't get to dictate who I am. You don't get to tell me what I will be. This stuff is scary. I'm in fear of my life, but it doesn't mean that I can't. You know, I think I tie that into, and I'll wrap up. It's like I'm preaching right now.
Listen, you know, take your time, brother.
The whole notion that I've thought about this a lot. You know, growing up, being told you got to work twice as hard. Got to work twice as hard. You got to work twice as hard, which is true. But what was missing from that, and what I try to include in my conversation, was you got to work twice as hard, and you have everything it takes to make this happen. Because when you hear that twice as hard message, for me, I internalize, oh, we're less. Therefore, we have to prove. And I wish the message had been followed up with twice as hard. And the reason you're working twice as hard ain't got nothing to do with you. is to do with the systems that are in place to keep you from understanding and believing and functioning just like everybody else. Because what you're doing is enough. The problems you're facing are not about you. They're about external forces that want to control you. And you have the ability to say, no, I am going to deal with and look at everything I have and be honest about our limitations and our abilities.
100%. 100%. And so well put, I don't have much to add. Only thing I would say is that, you know, in terms of that honesty piece, I think we also have to be honest about the things that we see or the things that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about post-Rona. What's happening right now during Rona? We know which communities are being heavily impacted. We know which communities are being impacted the most. Has there been help sent to us? So if we're waiting for help to be sent to us, we should stop.
Yes.
And we should actually remember charity begins at home.
Right.
Love begins at home.
Right.
If you want to talk about New Jack City, we all we got. So when we think about all these pieces, right?
Yeah, man.
We need to be honest that, guess what? We can't just wait for this savior.
Nope.
We have it all. We have what we need. We just have to do something with what we have and make that happen. We can't just wait for it, will for it. We actually have to take that action, be honest with ourselves that, guess what? We either just don't know where we are and we're like, well, or we really think that someone's going to help us, but we've seen that's not going to happen. Or we're just not comfortable with the fact that, you know what, we're going to have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing else to say. Like I said, those are the challenges. And it's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey.
And that's the piece. Post-Rona commandments, man.
I love them.
Stuff for us to live by, stuff for us to revisit, stuff for us to add on to.
Yeah. I think this may be the first time, because I know after we have our little tradition and we finish up to go, okay, what are we going to call this? I think this is the first time I'm like, I know the title.
Oh, 100%, right? Post-Rona commandments, man. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm taking that. Like this, my last thing I'll say on all this is my whole, like making these t-shirts. This was, and I wanted to make them. I wanted to be in my house and buy the machine and press and go. It's hard. There's a lot of failures, but I keep going. And just I think I need to print all these out, put them on the wall to remember. I mean, that's why Moses or whomever had the tablets.
Yep.
It was like, let me trick these in. Y'all know. Here they go right here. You know, it's real.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Well, how about we toast to that? How about we toast to, you know, us always continuously trying to improve along the journey, realizing that there will be setbacks and sometimes even failures, but we have everything that we need to be resilient, to be brilliant, and continue to be the best of what our ancestors dreamed of, fought for, imagined. Woo! That was the ancestors right there.
Right.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Drink to that. Oh, that's beautiful.
That was a good one.
Oh, it was a great one. Another one. They constantly stay great.
Keep rolling.
Constantly.
Keep rolling. Well, it's always a pleasure talking with you, brother.
Right on. The Brown Juice Barbershop, my home.
Hey, now, till next time, we'll holler at you. Be safe. We love you. Peace.
Right on.